I allow people into my life, like the guests that I have today, who contribute to my life, and hopefully I can contribute to theirs in some way, shape, or form, or we can all kind of help, as she says, the human condition and get better. So, because, you know, different viewpoints challenge you. They challenge you to look within, and they get you out of that proverbial comfort zone. And to those who insist on criticizing me, and I love you guys dearly because you're my inspiration, criticizing me in the show and some of the viewpoints that we say, here's what I have to say to you. How is that working for you? I know I hear a few people giggling right now. Today's guest, well, I'm all strapped in and ready to go, and we've been driving down here just yapping away. Today's guest will take us on a journey pushing the envelope again. Yeah, that's right, she's going to push it really hard on the topics of spirituality, spiritual healing, sexuality, and God. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, did I say something taboo? Alisa's quote, everything has everything to do with everything. We're so happy to have her back in the business of life. Alisa K, welcome.
Thank you for having me back, and let me just say
yes.
that you are so fun, Dr. D. And I was so excited this week when you asked me to come back on the show, because you have this insatiable courage and it's wonderful.
Well, I appreciate that. It's just a mild form of insanity, but you know, there's no meds to help me out, so I just keep going.
We have a zest for life.
I think so.
And I dig it.
Oh, very, very good.
So thanks for having me
Chick
back on your
digs
playground.
something I said. It's so cool. I love it. That's fantastic. Everything has everything to do with everything.
Yes.
That'll send you when I got that information from your right hand lady, Tanya, who I love and adore, but won't get on the radio because she won't. But I'll get her on one day. Tell me, and that just blows my mind when I hear the stuff like that. I just sit back and my world just spins. Where'd you get that from?
Well, it's true.
I believe you.
Yeah, everything has everything to do with everything. You can't compartmentalize your life without it catching up with you at some point. So, yeah, and as a businessman, you'll get this, you know. So we like to throw ourselves into business, and then we kind of let our personal life maybe slide at times, and then it catches up with us, and then something blows up in our personal life, because really what we've been doing is we've been hiding from something in our personal life, throwing ourselves into business. That way, you know, maybe it'll just work itself out.
Right.
Maybe we can sweep it under the rug. It doesn't work out that way. Yeah.
It doesn't go that way. So there's an interconnection with everything in our lives.
Absolutely.
And with all the people around us.
Absolutely.
Kind of like there's a reason for things happening sometimes.
There's always a reason, if we're
You
willing
smile
to
when
see
you
it that
say
way.
that. I wish people could see that when you smile. It is wonderful. The events in our life, if we allow them, they'll take its toll on us sometimes. Things taught to us, maybe past experiences, things that are programmed into us, things that we've been taught, sometimes don't always lead us down that path. The results can be disastrous in our life. Your quote, when you said everything has everything to do with everything, so you tell me, does bad stuff have something to do with the good stuff in our life? Is there a relationship between bad things that happen and good things that happen?
Well, there is a relationship, and I don't know if we have to necessarily look at them as bad stuff.
Okay.
I think we can choose to look at it as, what is the lesson I can learn from this? And in that space, you can find a sense of joy in learning.
Even when stuff really hits the fan?
Yes, even then. If you can sit with yourself in it, if you can sit with it and take responsibility for how you created it, because it didn't create itself. We create life.
You mean you're not going to blame anyone else for what happens to you?
I'm not going to blame anybody else when I get real with myself. Now, I may have a reaction at first, you know, that first reaction where I'm triggered, right?
For sure.
And I may want to blame somebody else. And I look at that, and I think we talked a little bit about this in the car on the way up. I look at that and go, oh, wow, this is a nice opportunity to look in the mirror and take responsibility.
Because that's the way everything really does start. It does. It does. And I totally agree with you. And I know people give me a lot of flack for that, but I totally agree with your train of thought. What would you say to a person who says nothing good ever happens to me? I hear that a lot.
It probably isn't.
Well, that's our show for today, everyone. We're all done, because she's 100% right. I have nothing that I could say that on there. So people come to you, and I'm glad they come to you, because you do help a lot of people. You put a lot of smiles on a lot of people. You put a lot of smiles. You put a smile on my face, and I know you must do it to a lot of other people. When you hear them say to you things like, you know, I want more out of my life, I could see that you'll all of a sudden light up on that because you know what they're talking about. One of the topics we want to talk about today was spiritual healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the vibe I get, is that you're telling people to start healing from the inside out.
Yes.
When do we know we need that? Is there a sign, a trigger, a thought? What is that?
There's lots of signs. Unfortunately, often people miss them. But when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, or you feel that sense of stagnation where you just can't get out of the mud, where everything seems difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've talked to people where they just say, everything feels like work. It's so hard. Why does life have to be this difficult?
I've said that to myself. I've heard other people, and I'll be very honest with you, I've said that to myself.
And then that's when there's time to go within, and if one chooses, and to start healing. Start, as we were talking earlier, peeling back the layers.
Yeah, and so what you're really looking at is the person needing to take a responsibility to say, things are not the way I want them to be. They're not pro-survival. I'm not living maybe the dream that I thought I was going to be living on top of that. So that responsibility level that you must create for yourself, that you have to say that to yourself, does it start there? I mean, nobody can force you to clean up your act.
Well, I think it starts there, but it's looking at, I'm not taking the action in creating the life that I wanted to live.
Okay, so there's an action to it, it just doesn't happen.
No.
Okay, there's a few books out there that say it just happens, and I disagree.
Well, again, it's an interpretation, though, of those books, I think, to some level. I mean, words are funny like that. I love words.
Oh, I play with them all day long. Yeah, I know.
And so when somebody's reading that book, if they are in a certain space of maybe, let's say, resistance in that, well, you say just sit there and manifest it in thought, and it will happen. Well, no, manifestation doesn't come from thought alone. It comes from a feeling. And in that feeling, we create motion. And in that motion, we create an action. And then we start to bring things to fruition.
So if you're thinking bad thoughts, the end result will be nothing good happening.
Well, you're probably not even going to move.
You're going to get stuck in that mud hole, that proverbial mud hole, and never get out of it.
Yeah, think about somebody who has been in that place of depression or bad thoughts or whatever you want to call it, and they don't actually move out of that space. People say they've stayed in bed for days. They sit on the couch, they watch it, they numb themselves, they're hypnotized by television,
Right.
The news. Well, let's just fill it with more bad thoughts.
Yeah, let's not even go on the news. You know something, a bunch of years ago, someone had told me, stop watching the news. And I said, what are you, crazy? I need to know what's going on out there. You want to know something? I stopped watching the news 10 years ago, and I know as much as everyone else, and I don't need to know anymore. And it makes no sense to me why I have to see a disaster 22 times on TV.
You'll know what you'll need to know. It'll be brought to you. I don't even own a television. Don't you think that's interesting?
You don't own a TV?
No, I don't own a TV, and I'm working on producing a television series, but I don't own a television.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, I don't have to worry about getting on a television series because I have a radio face. There's no reason for me to be on that thing. Or actually, a person had said to me, you look like a guy that I saw in the post office. I said, one of the tellers, or Pete Post Office, and he goes, no, there was a picture. And I went, oh, I love you too, pal. He's no longer a patient of the office. Watch what you say to him. So you strike me as somebody who really is not in love with the blame game. I just want to let you know, I blame other things for stuff that's happened in my life, and it doesn't work. I don't know if you knew that, if you've ever tried that or anything like that.
Tell me why you don't think it works.
Let's see. When you blame other things like that, there's pretty much no action involved in it, and you're taking no responsibility for what's happening.
No action.
So blame doesn't work, does it? Okay. I just wanted to make sure of that, because it's never worked for me, and I didn't think it worked for you.
So what I say is you hold up your two fingers.
Which ones?
The pointer ones, those ones, yeah. Or you can hold up any other one you want. Yes, that's right.
When you say hold up two fingers, it just takes off.
Well, you can hold up those two, but then you can turn them back and point them at yourself and take responsibility right there for the blame, because that's where the blame lies.
Right squarely there. That's a hard thought, though, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to look in the mirror and go, wow, why did I do that?
Well, let's look at it this way, too. Even if somebody has done something that has been wrong, in the sense of your judgment, your view on it, it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't align with how you live your life, okay? And that's okay. But you chose to interact with that person.
Mm-hmm.
You were drawn to that person in some way.
Right.
Are you going to take responsibility for that?
Well, you have to. You made the action of continuing a relationship or a discussion or something with that person,
Well, they don't have to.
Really?
Well, they don't have to take responsibility.
Oh, no, I got what you mean, I'm sorry, you're right, you don't have to, and that's where the blame game comes in.
Yeah.
But you just dig a big hole and you keep making the same mistake because you don't learn. Well, that's
Well,
the way I
it
look at
keeps
it.
being brought back to you over and over and over again until you do learn. And those are the people that say, nothing ever good happens to me.
Don't you feel bad? I don't feel bad. I'm
No,
sorry,
I
I got to
don't
the
feel
age
bad
right
for
now where I
that.
don't feel bad anymore because
Mm-mm.
I look and I go, okay, well, if you need some help getting out of that hole, I'd be happy to grab your hand and pull you up and, and get you going. But if you want to stay there, that's okay with me too. Let me know when you want to come out.
I really don't have time to feel bad for them because there's a limited amount of time on this planet, on this lifetime, and I have a lot to do. And that, so if I involve myself with that, how am I going to do the other things?
God, I love when you talk like that. Because you're right. You're sitting there and you're saying something right there where I think right now there's a lot of people would say, what do you mean? Guys, don't mistake this for lack of love. She has more love for humanity than 5 million people put together. I mean, honestly, so don't, she's just being straightforward. You're welcome. She's just being straightforward in how she feels. Oh, by the way, we're still allowed to do that in this country. We are. I know we are, because I read that piece of paper in Washington once that says we can. But anyway, one of the things I love that you write is you talk about everybody has like a greatness within us. And I kind of look at that and use the word, you use greatness and I use the word genius because of a quote from Albert Einstein, everybody is a genius. You feel that everybody deep down inside has something wonderful about them.
Absolutely, everybody does.
Everybody. We're going to stop right there and let you guys think about that. This is The Business of Life. I'm Dr. D with Alisa K. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It's too much fun.
I know, I have a blast.
I want you to hit them. I like that. Because you could just feel the people listening. You kind of go like that. What the hell happened? Yeah, I like that.
Cool, we can address that if you'd like.
You go there.
Okay.
You can go wherever you want. We're going to go a little bit on, I love about the greatness within you, because I think people, if they don't have that belief that there's something inside of them, they're worthless. They feel worthless. And I don't like when people feel worthless on that, okay? I want to really quick talk about next segment that and what others think of you, because in my mind it's a little bit of a trap. If you're worried about positive or negative feedback, it's judgmental on both sides when you think about it. You have to kind of think inside here.
Cool.
Then you're going to let it rip.
All right.
We're going to walk them into it, and then there's some questions that Tanya sent me that we're going to go into the sexuality of things. I want you to define sexuality,
Okay.
so people don't do what I did, which was wrong. And you corrected me. I thank you.
I want to say what I wrote on that, though. I want to look at that really quick because I liked that. I was
On
on
which?
last night on sexuality. You didn't print it out on here.
You have it with you?
However, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, are you taping all of this?